Welcome to this episode of Undercurrent. I'm your host, Bas Tadros. First up, I speak with Christopher Schneids, who's writing about the three brains, the head, heart and gut connection, and how that impacts people in terms of the way they receive information and the way they express their information to the world. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Christopher Schneids, and we're talking about the three brains. There's a science behind this, and he is currently writing a book about the heart and gut brain connection within the body. Why don't we know these things at school? Because I think this lead in terms of the information that you're sharing in your book is not only good for relationships, but it's really good for our communication.
In my research I became aware 100 years ago we almost disconnected science. We have psychology, psychiatry, that's only talking about the head. We have 80 specialities about the body, if you go to the medical science. And actually we were split up in parts. When you go to a physiotherapist, psychologist or whatever, they only look at one part of you. Almost nobody looks at the holistic part anymore. And I became aware that if you don't look holistically, people get stuck in issues. That's how I came to it as a therapist, that people kept stuck. And from there I started thinking, if people are stuck, say, in their head, or people are stuck in their heart, or people are stuck in their gut, how does it work? Then I became aware that they're actually brains, 100,000 brain cells, 500 million brain cells, like a cat brain, interconnected with nerve systems and other kind of communication systems. And I thought, how come nobody ever thought about this? Now Darwin writes about it 150 years ago and someone got dismissed. But when I exercised with people with it, on students, clients and whatever, I came aware it works. And from there I researched and came aware actually it's true.
People are becoming more and more aware that there's more neuron connections and receptors in our gut brain, as you call it, than there is in our head. So how come people don't know that and understand that? And how do your insights in your book sort of point to this direction?
Now, why we don't know? Because actually, when you go to a special medical, they look at the gut, intestines, and they look, say, at the physiology, what's happening there, digestion or those kind of things. And we have 1.5 kilo bacteria there. Without that, we would not survive one day, because they are responsible for digestion and they communicate with us. They now make links as Alzheimer. When you have Alzheimer or Parkinson, do you know you have also gut issues?
Lead to that potential.
Yeah, and they have the same issues there as in your brain. So that it has connections now. Based on that the brain is here, this is actually the first brain in the brain that is in charge.
So it's a survival instinct that kicks in from here and actually shuts down the overthinking.
Absolutely, it shuts down. Because this part actually has one responsibility: survive. That means fight and flight, immobilize, that means faint and fall down, or of course when you're hungry or thirsty. And the last one is of course reproduction. Do you like to have a lot of feminine energy in you, Bas?
Well, I think I've been said to have had feminine energy, right? But that's probably because I've grown up with 3 younger sisters, for example. But I don't think most men would be comfortable to saying or admitting that they have a feminine energy.
No, but just imagine that you would say to those guys, hey, would you like to have a little bit more heart energy?
That makes a lot more sense for me. I could be a lot more heart.
Yeah, a little bit more compassion, I would say yes. And just imagine the flip side. If you say to a woman, would you like to have a lot of manly, masculine energy? Now, most girls would say no.
Frown.
Frown, no, please not. But if you say, would you like to have a little bit more survival me instinct, to take care a little bit better of yourself? All the girls would say, yes, please. And so I also advocate, let's call that masculine, feminine, throw it away and call it gut, heart, brain energy. So we're also going to have much more gender equality on the workspace and in normal life.
Probably less confusion too, because sometimes if women are being sold the idea of having more masculine energy, but they still want the man to be the man.
But also that helps in that part. And when you look at schools, and we're all put in stereotype roles. Girls should do this, boys should do that. If you're now in Europe, where I'm being born, or in Australia, or whatever. So, but the moment you say, we educate you on gut, heart and brain level, you can become much more complete.
How can people get in touch with you or connect with you, Chris?
That's Peel Academy, Personal Excellence and Leadership Academy. That's my business website, or Facebook, Christopher Snijders, and you can find me and you find all the things there.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Bas Tadros for Undercurrent. A poetry event in solidarity was held by the Sudanese people last Friday. This event was to raise awareness about what anti-government protesters faced in terms of excessive violence and lethal force. Some of these people are still in detention, so these poets have come together to raise their mood and morale, and Angela and Tony were there to report on this event. Warning to viewers, there are some graphic images in this story.
Hello everybody, we are here at the Multicultural Service Center to listen to distinct poets, astute scholars who are going to be talking to us about the solidarity with the Sudanese people. This poetry event was organized by Mr. Afif Ismail, and he's got his colleagues here to talk to us about what's going on in Sudan.
These are images the Sudanese government does not want you to see. Teams of soldiers and secret agents chasing down protesters in the streets of the capital, Khartoum, bagging them over the head, beating them, and dragging them off to secret detention centers, where they are held without charge and in some cases tortured.
So we're here tonight to show solidarity with the demonstrators in Sudan who've been out in the streets protesting against the cruel practices of the Bashir dictatorship since the 19th of December 2018.
We send you our children, our hopes, dreams and futures. You return them bent and broken. You return them in body bags. And you still have the gall to ask, why are you all so overprotective?
Rubber bullets, tear gas and live ammunition from an administration and a man who have ruled Sudan for 29 years.
Hello, my name is Vivian Glantz. I'm a poet and I've been working with Afif Ismail for about 14 years now.
She holds a PhD in creative writing from the University of Western Australia, where she's an honorary research fellow.
She knows, as only a child can, that eyes are truth. She wants to see the truth. Did they know what they were doing?
These squads have been deployed since December to clear demonstrators from the streets.
We really need to see change. This cannot continue. 30 years of dictatorship is far too much. The people are demanding freedom, they're demanding democracy, they're demanding justice.
My name is Robert Wood. I'm the current chair of PEN International in Perth. PEN believes in the responsible freedom of expression and the safeguarding of human rights from a literary perspective.
In your nightmarish darkness, he saw the ruins of Soba. He watched a home being trampled with his blindfolded eyes on a callous, hard day. Everything plunged into chaos.
Our next poet is Dr. David Moody. Dr. Moody is a senior lecturer of theatre and drama at Murdoch University. He is a poet, performance theatre, and writer, director, and actor.
Raising her unarmed, clenched fist, and without any fear, she walked towards a wall of helmets and guns guarding the gate of the palace, the crowd behind her chanting, "Bread and freedom!"
I have a great interest in the politics and the struggle for freedom in the Sudan. So I'm motivated by a willingness to try and stand up for people wherever they are, and that's why I've come here, because of my interest in Africa and because of my interest in struggles for freedom everywhere.
A paralysing economic crisis has fuelled this popular uprising. 4 weeks of demonstrations organised by doctors, teachers and other professionals.
My name is Afif Abdelrazik. I'm here with my people in solidarity in all diaspora, where we support our people.
Eternity. Oh, my comrades, don't worry about me while I take an eternal nap. My blood is there with you in the streets, and the echo of my chant comes back to me. I hear it through the holes of my shroud, roaring. Justice, dignity, freedom. Justice, dignity, freedom.
They're often the very same thing. Activism and art are not so different.
To create justice and peace and freedom.
This man raised the Sudanese flag. He was still holding it, even as he was hauled away.
I am Tony ETC, reporting for Undercurrent.
Earlier this week, a video surfaced on Facebook showing a Melbourne-based chiropractor doing a very controversial treatment on a 2-week-old baby. Alex took to the street to find out what the public's opinion is on this treatment, whether this baby's too young to receive such treatment, and whether the chiropractor in question should be investigated.
Earlier this week, a video was uploaded on Facebook of a very young baby having its back adjusted by a chiropractor. We're here to find out what the Perth public thinks about it. So, what's your opinion on the 2-week-old baby having an adjustment from a chiropractor?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. If it could be self-corrected or it's not something that the baby needs, it's life-threatening, then maybe a bit of time and then potentially look at it later on in the child's life. But yeah, I wouldn't agree with that.
It's a little bit strange there is a 2-year-old. I think maybe when the kid has his own ability to make his own decision, then it's fair enough, but at the minute the kid has no decision, so...
I definitely do not agree with it. At that age, the child doesn't have an opinion or a voice of its own. I think that's something when they grow up, and if they need that, they'll be a lot more suited, but not at that age. It's ridiculous.
Probably not ideal unless the parents really want that. Yeah, or the doctor recommends it, yeah.
The chiropractors now come under investigation by 2 governing bodies because the kid was so young. Do you think that sounds fair?
Yeah, it should be under discussion, but at the end of the day, the welfare of the child's in the mother's hands or the parents' hands. So if they've decided it is or it is, then the chiropractor shouldn't be in trouble for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. It's been investigated, yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, why not? It's a baby's life and that could cause potential problems further on down the line. I think it's 2 weeks old, it's too soon, it's not necessary. So an investigation, yeah, sure. And if he's done nothing wrong, then there's no harm done to the investigation, so, yeah.
Do you think there should be restrictions on age? Because 2 weeks old is obviously quite young.
Yeah, I think, yeah, there probably should be, unless the doctor really says that it should, yeah.
2 weeks old is very young, but I think it depends on the circumstances. There should be a lot more looked into with it. So they really need to make sure that that is the right choice for that particular medical condition and if it's necessary. But I still think 2 weeks is way too young, so yeah.
I do think so. When a child is, obviously old enough to make up its own mind, probably, I don't know, teenagehood onwards.
Do you think it was dangerous for it to be something like that to be done to a 2-week-old?
I don't know what the consequences would be or something like that. It's not my area of expertise, so I couldn't really comment on that side of things, but yeah.
Is it something you'd agree with, the child getting an adjustment, or
No, not really, yeah. Unless, like I said, unless the doctor really wanted it, yeah.
Is it something are you glad there's been, public outcry about it?
Yeah, definitely. That child doesn't have a voice, so sometimes we've got to step in and be that voice.
Stay with us, we'll be back from break very shortly.